Why am I here? What's the secret to a long and happy life? Where does my peace come from? What fulfills me from within? If you've ever sat and contemplated on questions like these, I think it's worth it to check out the Japanese concept called ikigai. Let's talk about it. Ikigai is a Japanese concept that roughly translates to reason for being. Much like in French, raison d'être, right? Reason to be. It brings you a life of fulfillment, happiness, and a deep sense of purpose. But it's also bigger than just what you've been put on earth to do. It's also finding beauty in the simplicity, finding peace in the mundane, and satisfaction in the small things as well as the large things. There's a pretty popular book centered around this concept, and to research for the book, the authors actually visited this Japanese village that had the highest percentage of people over 100 years old. So of course they want to know where the magic comes from. What is the secret to living that long and happy life? How do you guys do it? They want to know how they eat. How do they work? How do they play? What are their daily tasks like? How do they continue to invest in coordination and also community? And they found some things out. The deeper they dove into these people's lives, they found out how important the concept of ikigai was to these people, even if it wasn't a fully conscious thought at all times. So there are four main components that make up the concept of ikigai. First is, what do you love? That's going to be your passion. What are you good at? It's going to be your vocation. What can you earn money from? Which is your profession. And what does the world need? Which is your mission. Anybody who's able to master and to combine all four of those components, you pretty much live on cloud nine. You live in the flow state. You live in a sense of zen. Right? You live in this peaceful place where you kind of feel like a superhero and like nothing can stop you because you're completely at peace with everything you've done and accomplished. The first one I want to talk about is your passion, what you love. The reason I'm starting with this one is because I think if you're able to master this, if you're able to hone in and really give everything to this, it's the basis for the rest of your life. How many times have you heard a celebrity or somebody successful talk about their journey and how hard it was through hardship, through failure, through disappointment and letdown and mistakes and falling down and getting back up and falling down and getting back up? What a lot of these people say is, look, I just did what I loved to do. Sometimes you have to divorce yourself from results and expectations and simply do what you love to do. Give everything that you have to what you love. That's the baseline, I think, for a happy life. I think it should start everything. And it starts when you're young. You know, you ask a classroom full of kindergartners, what do you want to be? You're going to hear astronaut, right? Artist, creator, teacher, police officer, doctor. And the older we get, that magic is stripped away little by little. So a lot of people don't do what they love. So that alone, that one pillar for most people is already gone. So they're already missing out on 25% of what could bring them peace according to this ikigai concept. Once again, if we're lucky, we find this out when we're real young. However, if we're not, if we don't know at 5, 10 years old, 12 years old, what we want to be, what we want to do with our lives, that's perfectly fine. You know what that means? It's an opportunity for us to try a bunch of everything. Don't just get pigeonholed and just stop. Try a bunch of everything. You will find what your passion is. Or your passion will find you along that way. You just got to start walking and go full speed in that direction. You will find what your passion is and your passion will find you. I need you to fight for that fire to burn. You have to fight for that fire to burn. Because if you never find your passion, you're going to be chasing your tail forever. The next pillar I'll talk about is what you're good at, your vocation. Now let's keep it a buck. This can be very much so tied to what you're passionate about if you're willing to be persistent enough to become really good or great at something. The 10,000 hour rule, right? Now granted, everybody can't work themselves into becoming LeBron, all right? Genetically, some people are physically and genetically superior when it comes to athletics and things like that. Some people are more musically inclined or mathematically inclined, scientifically inclined. That's okay, because most of those people are outliers. The truth of the matter is, you can work to become Allen Iverson or Steph Curry, right? Some people who maybe aren't as physically imposing but have maximized everything they've been given. What you're good at can be what you're passionate about if you're willing to work for that. You know, so many times we call people lucky or blessed just because of what they've been able to accomplish or things, maybe gifts they have or they've fostered over the years. But we sometimes forget the fact that they worked their behinds off to foster and to cultivate that gift and to make it something beautiful and worthwhile. You know, most people will tell you that Mozart was a prodigy because he was just so naturally gifted with music and composing. And that's not the case. Mozart was born into a musically obsessed family, right? His sister was a prodigy pianist under the tutelage of his father, who wanted to be a composer but never realized his dream and started to invest in his children. When Mozart was 4 years old, he officially started to learn piano and all these different instruments and how to compose. He drilled at it for years and years. Hours upon hours, every day he was trained and trained and trained. They said his father spoke about how obsessed Mozart was to impress his father because his father seemed to show more affection to his older sister who was a piano prodigy. And Mozart was just kind of the little bro. He's the little brother, little boy, you know? So Mozart would drill and drill and drill and want to create these amazing musical pieces to impress his father. When he first started to perform in front of people with his sister, at the time, he was just good for his age. He couldn't compete with the timeless artists of his time, right? He couldn't compete with the adults or the people who had trained for years and years and years and years when he only had maybe 5-6 years in the game. But he worked at it. And what he was able to do was to travel around the world with his dad and his sister and perform in front of crowds. And he was able to make mistakes. And he was able to drill. He was able to conquer. He was able to fight fear and adversity. And he worked his behind off. He was so obsessed. Mozart created over 600 works and he only lived for 35 years. And he's probably one of the most prolific artists we've ever seen. And consistent artists we've ever seen. And the most legendary artist we've ever seen. Arguably the greatest musician ever. He only had about 30 years of work. What he was passionate about became what he was really good at because he was willing to drill over time and to continue to push at it even when it was hard. If it's hard, you need to keep going if you want to experience true peace and fulfillment. Next is what can earn you income or your profession. Now this one is tough because this is also going to take a lot of dedication and persistence and hustle and grind and confidence, self-belief. You know, every time you say you want to do something or achieve something that seems to be avant-garde or counterculture or something that's not the corporate cubicle job, right? You're always going to hear those questions. How you going to pay your bills? Right? How can you sustain yourself with art? Does that make any money? Is that degree going to get you paid? Is that going to get you a picket fence in the White House and the 2 dogs and kids? You hear this stuff all the time. And that's why, once again, you have to go and go and go and go and go. Because there's money everywhere. People are so much more empowered. There's so many more opportunities to branch out from whatever your main profession is and to get a bag that could last you and start creating generational wealth. All of that's possible, but you gotta go for it. There's people who are making money selling do-rags. Big companies selling do-rags, selling t-shirts, selling candles, selling lemonade, selling push pins, selling homemade jewelry, selling cookies. Understand what I'm saying? There's money in everything. If you're willing to go until that passion can pay you. But you gotta go. You have to go if you want to experience that true peace. Now this last one is, what does the world need? In other words, what is your mission? What's the deeper reason for why you were put on earth? Why you do what you do? It always has to be bigger than you. If everything is self-contained, I think you'll struggle to truly find fulfillment because you'll constantly be chasing accolades and more and more and more and more. More money, more success, more accomplishments, more plaques, more whatever it is. More articles written up about you. I don't know, more positive reviews. And anytime you want more, you'll never get enough because you'll always be comparing to somebody else who has more. When I think about my music, right, the reason I'm so vulnerable, the reason why I can only tell the truth in my music is because I understand that the message that I was given, the story that I tell, the life I've lived to this point, the perspectives I have, they're valuable because they're authentic. And when I spill my truth, people can learn from it and grow from it and become inspired. When I was 10 years old, I knew I was put on earth to lead and inspire. So no matter what my profession was, whether I chose to be a doctor, I'm a rapper, right? I'm a poet, I'm a creator. Or whether I chose to be a pharmacist, anything, right? A teacher, it doesn't matter, construction worker. My mission was always gonna be to lead and to inspire. This is just the path I chose because this is what spoke to me. This is what lined up with my other concepts, my other components of ikigai. What I'm good at, what I love to do, what can make me money one day. And in my mission, to speak to the youth, to speak to the people, and empower, and preach that self-love and confidence. Because I love myself. I'm the shit. I am the shit, and I always have been. Because God made me great. Same way He made you great. We got to know that. So my mission is that. My mission is giving back. My mission is looking at the kids that look like me. My mission is to say, look what I did. You can do way more than me. I didn't have a me when I was that age. I got top degrees. I got this opportunity. I left the city. I can go back now and teach them kids, look, man, I'm going to show you what's possible. I live right on that block. Look where I'm at now. Don't tell me it's not possible. You could do this. That's why I'm here. That's my bigger mission. So what you're passionate about, what you're good at, what can make you money, and what the world needs. Ikigai is such an important concept if you want to have true fulfillment in life, and I think it's worth everybody looking into at some point in time. I think it's worth exploring a little bit more. Now I want to go over some tips on how to foster more peace in your life. Whether it's directly related to Ikigai or not, just some things that are going to help you live a more peaceful and fulfilled life. 1. Immerse yourself in nature, please. Spend time in nature, man. Take walks with no music on. Take walks and listen to the birds chirp. Listen to the cars drive by. Listen to the wind blowing. Watch the squirrels running around. And watch how the leaves and the flowers move in the wind. Connect. Connect to this earth, man. Mother Earth been taking care of us for a long time. We gotta show her some love back. Next one, start every day with gratitude. When you wake up, thank God, or whatever you believe in. Say how grateful you are for what you've been blessed with. Every day I wake up, man, I'm thankful for life. Thankful for all my senses, for my talents, my gifts, my voice. I'm grateful for another day to get this thing right and to do better than I did yesterday, to be a better man than I was yesterday. I'm grateful. And today's the day all my dreams come true. I start my day with power every day. Next, meditate and pray. Once again, if you're not a believer, that's okay, but find a way to meditate. Find a way to center yourself. And mind you, meditation can come in all types of forms. You don't have to sit here and be, on some kumbaya. You don't have to do that. But find a way to get centered. Find a way to get your mind clear and calm down and stop overthinking it and just having all types of nonsense in your mind. Protect that. It's a sacred place. Protect it. Keep the magic alive. Watch Disney movies. Listen to Disney soundtracks. Be very mindful of what you have, going into your body and your mind and your psyche. Be very careful. All that love and hip hop stuff, yeah, I understand it's entertaining, but why don't you put something in there that's gonna enrich you and uplift you? Listen to Disney soundtracks, man. Most of the movies have beautiful messages in those songs. Adults and kids alike will find so much value. Please, please, please listen to Disney soundtracks more often. Speak to elderly people and listen. Don't listen to respond or to have a retort or some backlash. Listen to learn and to understand and to grow. Because when these people pass away, when they're gone, when they're no longer here, and all these stubborn kids and young people didn't want to listen, guess what? Their stories, their insight, their guidance, their perspectives and points of view, it leaves with them. We owe it to them. They've made it this far. They've been through so many things, and they've given us the opportunity to chase our dreams the way we do from the sacrifices they made. Stop being so stubborn and hard-headed. Listen to them. They got a lot of value. Last one, travel more, man. You can't just have this small-town mentality. You gotta travel, see things. It doesn't have to be across the world. Go take a weekend trip. Go do a staycation somewhere. Just broaden your perspectives and find ways to deviate from your normal day-to-day routine or typical environment. Find ways to experience something else and grow. And gain insight and learn from everything you do. Be very observant. Learn from everything you do. I'm not the expert on Ikigai. I'm not the expert on peace. I'm not the expert on living a fulfilled life. I just want to give y'all some things that I study, that I'm into. I got a lot more work to do to understand this thing more deeply. I'm going to read a bunch more books and look deeper into it to truly find out what it means for me. And I'm going to continue to fight for my peace. And I think y'all should do the same, man. That's all I got for y'all.